Ask anyone for their favorite science fiction movie, and you'll hear the same 5 titles every time. The Matrix, Blade Runner, Interstellar, but there's a whole shelf of films just as good, some of them better, that somehow never make it into that conversation. From a time machine built for $7,000 in a garage to a genetic future that feels more real every year. These are 10 movies so good it's wild nobody talks about them anymore. Let's get into it. Pitch Black, 2000. Number 10 is Pitch Black, a film that quietly turns into a completely different movie halfway through. A transport ship carrying passengers in cryosleep crashes onto what looks like a dead, empty planet, leaving a handful of survivors with a wrecked ship, almost no supplies, and a prisoner they were transporting named Riddick, a killer with eyes surgically altered to see in total darkness. For the first hour, he's the scariest thing on the planet. Then the eclipse happens. A second planet rises and blocks out all 3 suns, and the survivors realize this world isn't lifeless at all. It just hides everything until the light disappears. What follows is a desperate run across the surface toward an escape ship, hunted by creatures that only come out in the dark. And by the end, Riddick isn't the one they're afraid of anymore. Pitch Black spawned an entire franchise, but the original is still the tightest, tensest entry. It rotates between free streaming and rental, so check before you watch. Solaris, 2002. Number 9 takes you to a space station orbiting a strange, possibly conscious planet, where the crew starts seeing people from their pasts walk through the halls. These aren't memories and they aren't ghosts. They're physical, breathing recreations built straight out of each person's own mind. George Clooney plays a psychologist sent to investigate after the crew stops responding. Once he arrives, the planet does the same thing to him, and his dead wife appears, recreated down to the smallest detail, except she has no memory of her own life, only the memories he has of her. What makes this one worth talking about is how it refuses to play as horror. The crew has to decide whether these recreations are dangerous, and whether ending one counts as mercy or murder. The ending is deliberately open, and people have been arguing about what it actually means ever since. If you want science fiction that's strange and genuinely about grief rather than space, this deserves a far bigger audience than it got. Dread, 2012. Number 8 is Dread, set inside a single massive apartment block called Peachtrees, 200 floors deep and controlled by a drug lord named Ma. Carl Urban plays the title character, a judge with the authority to act as cop, jury, and executioner on the spot, sent in with a rookie partner to handle a triple murder. That routine call turns into a full lockdown fast. Ma seals every exit and puts the entire building on alert to hunt both judges down before they can get out alive. The standout is a drug called slow-mo, which slows the user's perception of time to a crawl, and the film uses it to turn its violence into something almost dreamlike. Gunfights and falls rendered in slow motion that look like comic book panels brought to life. Dread bombed hard at the box office and killed any chance of a sequel, but it's since become the gold standard for putting comic book violence on screen. It rotates across free streaming and rental. Equilibrium, 2002. Number 7 is Equilibrium, which opens after a Third World War that the survivors blame entirely on human emotion. Everyone now takes a drug that shuts down all feeling, and anything that might trigger emotion, especially art and literature, gets destroyed on sight. Enforcing all of it falls to elite soldiers called clerics. Christian Bale plays one of the best of them, tracking down and executing people hiding the very things that could make them feel again. Then he misses a dose, just once, and everything changes. Colors look sharper. He starts noticing things he never registered before, like how every desk in his office is arranged exactly the same way, down to the last item. What follows is Preston quietly falling apart while still wearing the uniform of the system he enforces, building toward a finale that exposes the lie holding the entire regime together. The fight scenes are built around something called gun kata, a martial art designed entirely around using firearms with maximum efficiency. A genuine cult favorite that deserves more attention. MR. Nobody, 2009. Number 6 is Mr. Nobody. In 2009, humanity has achieved immortality, except for one man. Jared Leto plays Nemo Nobody, the last mortal person alive, and when a journalist asks him about his life, he can't give a straight answer. He's unsure if he was married once or twice, unsure which version of his story is even real. That uncertainty is the entire point. Every answer he gives is a different life he actually lived, each one branching out from a single moment on a train platform as a child. What ties it all together is the idea Nemo reaches by the end. No version of his life is more right than the others. Every path carries equal weight. This was the most expensive film ever made in Belgium and one of its director's biggest commercial flops. But it's become a quiet favorite for everyone who stumbles onto it. If branching, non-linear science fiction is your thing, this one rewards a rewatch more than almost anything else on this list. Strange Days, 1995. Number 5 is Strange Days, set over the final 2 days of 1999 in a Los Angeles that's basically falling apart. The technology at the center of it lets you record someone's experiences directly from their brain and play them back later, living the moment as if it were your own. Ralph Fiennes plays Lenny, an ex-cop turned dealer in these recordings, addicted to replaying tapes of happier times with a woman he lost. He won't touch the worst material, the recordings of real murders sold on the black market, but plenty of people around him will. Then a recording lands in his hands that connects to a murder, pushing the entire city toward riots, and Lenny gets dragged into something far bigger than the small-time hustling he's used to. What makes this one stand out is how unsettling the core idea still feels decades later. The film treats the technology as both the ultimate escape and the ultimate violation, asking what it costs to live inside someone else's memories instead of your own. Directed by Catherine Bigelow and co-written by James Cameron, it's a genuine cult classic most people have never even heard of. Primer, 2004. Number 4 is Primer, and the backstory behind it is almost as wild as the film itself. 4 friends tinkering in a garage accidentally build a box that does something strange to time. Objects placed inside come out having aged hours longer than they should have. 2 of them, Aaron and Abe, realize what they've actually built and start using it to travel backward, mostly to trade stocks they already know the outcome of. But it doesn't stay simple for long. Every trip back creates a new version of events, and soon there are multiple versions of both men running around, each only knowing part of the picture, until even they can't agree on whose timeline they're standing in by the end. Writer-director Shane Carruth made this for about $7,000, wrote it, scored it, and starred in it himself. People watch this one multiple times and still argue about it afterward. It's widely considered the most technically accurate time travel film ever made, and it rotates across streaming. Sunshine, 2007. Number 3 is Sunshine, and the mission here is about as high stakes as science fiction gets. The sun is dying, and a crew of 8 astronauts is flying a ship loaded with a massive bomb meant to reignite it and save Earth. The most unsettling part is that they're 16 months into the journey, with no way back if anything goes wrong. Then, they pick up a distress signal from the previous ship sent on this exact mission, one that vanished years earlier and was presumed lost. From there, the mission keeps getting worse. A fire breaks out, costing them a crew member and part of their oxygen supply at the same time, and when they finally board the abandoned ship, what they find isn't what anyone expected. This is one of the most striking depictions of the sun ever put on screen, directed by Danny Boyle, with a cast stacked enough to carry the weight and an ending that earns every bit of its build-up, visually staggering and weirdly under-discussed. Dark City, 1998. Number 2 is Dark City, and a full year before The Matrix arrived, this film was already telling a strikingly similar story, just dressed in shadows and old-world detective movie style. A man named John Murdoch wakes up in a hotel room next to a dead woman, with no memory of how he got there or who he is. As he runs from the police and tries to piece things together, he uncovers something that breaks the entire world open. The city itself isn't real. It's a kind of floating space station, and every memory everyone in it has, including his own, was placed there artificially. The ones controlling it are pale, hairless beings who inhabit recently dead human bodies, And every night they rearrange people's memories and identities. What makes this one stand out is the execution. It looks like a black and white detective film, but the technology runs on clockwork instead of computers, and it raises the same as any of this real questions The Matrix got all the credit for. By the end, Murdoch turns the very power the aliens use to control everyone back against them. Visionary and ahead of its time. Gattaca 1997. This is the one that proves the entire point of this list. In this future, genetic engineering decides your whole life before you're even born. How long you'll live, what you're capable of, all mapped out from a single blood sample. And anyone born without that engineering is treated as second class by default. Vincent was born the natural way, with a genetic profile that predicts heart problems and a life expectancy of around 30 years. He's wanted to go to space his entire life, and his genes say it's never going to happen. So he buys someone else's identity. Jerome, genetically flawless but paralyzed after an accident, and the two strike a deal so Vincent can pass as him using his samples. The tension never lets up, because the facility runs daily sweeps for stray hairs and skin cells, and one overlooked detail could expose everything. Then a murder happens on site, and a detective starts combing through everyone's records, getting closer to the truth with every scene. Hawk and Law's chemistry carries the film, and the ending hits quietly, then refuses to let go. The most quietly perfect genetic future film ever made, and it only ages better with time. If even one of these was new to you, that's the whole point. Go watch it tonight. Subscribe so the algorithm stops hiding the good stuff. And drop a comment with the one I missed, because I read every single one.